When it comes to growing American businesses, Congresswoman Ann Wagner isn't mincing words. She's sounding the alarm. Risks falling behind as entrepreneurs and small businesses struggle to access the capital they need to expand. From startups barely breaking $1 million in revenue to companies fighting off foreign copycats. Wagner lays bare a system that's leaving Main Street behind, just as lawmakers debate reforms meant to unlock investment and protect America's economic leadership.
For 5 minutes.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank our witnesses. The United States is a country of entrepreneurs and innovators, trailblazers who turn ideas into successful businesses, mom and pop shops, and they grow from literally a single store into thriving enterprises. These are the individuals who have made the United States the strongest economy in the world, and their hard work deserves our support. The truth is, however, that capital is not easy to access for many small businesses across the country, especially in the Midwest. I hail from the show me state of Missouri, so I know, and other regions away from the big cities on the coast. As chair of the Capital Markets Subcommittee, one of my main goals has been to address this lack of access. As you said earlier, Mr. O'Leary, it's the whole deal, access to capital. That's why I led the INVEST Act, a package of 22 bipartisan bills that will strengthen our capital markets, expand investment opportunities for everyday Americans, and provide greater access to capital for Main Street businesses. Mr. O'Leary, as an angel investor on Shark Tank and the chairman of O'Leary Ventures, you have invested millions of dollars in dozens of companies located across the United States over the last 16 years. In working with early stage startups, investing both your time and money in up and coming companies, you have direct experience leading with the challenges that these businesses face. Mr. O'Leary, when you work with early stage companies, what are some of the main challenges you hear about gaining access to capital?
Between 1 and 5 million in sales, it's virtually impossible today. It really is. And the challenge is that right after about 1 million, when you stop selling your grandmother and your cousins the product and people start buying it because they want it, maybe you've been successful in social media acquiring customers, that is the time when you want to support these nascent entities because they have proven their product. So one problem is when they get to 5 million, is what generally they need to expand both on the employee base and they need more capital for inventory, because that's just at the time when the large big box retailers, which still represent 50% of sales, including Amazon, require inventory. And they're not going to receive cash on that for 60 days. That's why I talked about the factoring market. There is another problem, and I brought this up when we were having China hearings. Exactly at 5 million of run rate on Amazon for any American consumer good product, that is when the Chinese knockoffs hit. And what you would see, and it comes on Alibaba, that IP is stolen, and I've been talking about this for years.
Well, I don't have time to let you talk about it for years, sir.
Yeah,
so,
and it's stolen, and it shows up at 60% the cost of the innovation.
I hear you. And we have addressed some of these issues in the INVEST Act, and you mentioned the INVEST Act in your written testimony. And from your experience working with companies that rely on private market investors, how could the reforms included in this package help unlock capital, increase competition, and improve options without requiring additional government intervention or a subsidy?
Probably 40% of the friction is the regulation, and the challenge is at the regional bank level. It really is. If you could get that red tape gone, if you could deregulate it, make it easier, most of these communities would support their entrepreneurs. Even in small towns, they would do it because they can see the effect of growth. I mean, they watch these, whether it's a car dealer or a dry cleaner or a bakery, whatever it is, it's working.
And in talking about growth, as other nations move aggressively to attract capital, the U.S. risks falling behind, and we are, if our markets remain too costly or inaccessible for growing companies. Mr. O'Leary, how essential are capital formation reforms, such as those in the INVEST Act, to maintaining U.S. economic leadership and driving long-term growth, as you have talked about?
Well, if you look at the data, 70% of jobs are created by the businesses you just detailed, and yet they virtually get no support in the large acts that are created, whether it's the Infrastructure Act or whatever in the last 4 years. I've read those acts. They're telephone books. There's nothing there for small business. And the point is, why would you not want to support at least, I would argue, 70% of capital should be made available to them, because 70% of the jobs come from there.
And my time's expired. I will yield back. But we have done that in the INVEST Act. And I thank you, sir.
When Congresswoman Ann Wagner
Hi,
talks
thank
about
you, Mr.
American
Chairman. I thank our
businesses falling
witnesses.
behind,
The
she's
United
pointing to a
States
problem that
is a
hits every
country of
level of Main
entrepreneurs
Street.
and innovators.
Access to capital right
Trailblazers
now,
who turn
small businesses,
ideas
the
into
backbone of the U.S.
successful
economy,
businesses.
are hitting a wall
Mom and
once they
pop
prove their product
shops
works and start
that
growing
grow from
beyond dollar.
literally a
$1
single
million in
store
revenue, the red
into
tape,
thriving
regulatory
enterprises.
hurdles, and
These
lack of
are the
financing can
individuals
stall
who
them.
have
Even
made the
companies
United
with
States the
millions in
strongest
sales can
economy
struggle to
in the
expand
world,
inventory,
and their hard work
hire employees,
deserves
or
our
compete with
support.
international
The
competitors.
truth is, however,
And let's be honest,
that
foreign markets
capital
aren't
is
slowing
not
down.
easy
Countries like China
to
are
access for many
aggressively
small
attracting
businesses
capital, making it
across
easier
the
for
country,
startups and
especially in the
innovators to
Midwest.
scale.
I hail from
Meanwhile,
the show-me
in the
state
U.S.,
of
early
Missouri,
stage companies
so I know.
often face a perfect
And other
storm,
regions,
bureaucratic
away from the
friction,
big
high
cities
costs,
on the
and
coast.
intellectual property
As
theft
chair
that can
of
undercut
the Capital
their
Markets
innovation.
Subcommittee,
The
one of my
Invest Act,
main
championed by
goals has been
Wagner,
to address
is
this
designed
lack
to cut through
of
that
access.
chokehold.
As you
It
said,
aims to expand investment
earlier,
opportunities for everyday
it's the
Americans,
whole
streamline regulations
deal.
of regional banks,
Access
and give
to
small
capital.
businesses the tools they need
That's
to
why I
scale
led the
without
Invest
waiting
Act,
on
a package
massive
of 22
government
bipartisan
subsidies.
bills that
The
will
stakes aren't small.
strengthen our
70%
capital
of new
markets,
jobs come
expand
from these
investment
growing
opportunities
businesses.
for
Yet
everyday
Washington's
Americans,
recent
and provide greater
legislation
access to
has
capital
largely ignored them.
for Main Street
Supporting small businesses isn't
Mr.
just
O'Leary,
good policy.
as an angel
It's
investor
essential to
on
keeping
Shark
the U.S.
Tank
economy
and the
competitive
chairman of
globally.
O'Leary Ventures,
In short,
you have
this isn't
invested
about handouts.
millions
It's
of
about
dollars
removing
in
barriers,
dozens of companies
empowering
located across the
entrepreneurs,
United States
and
over the
ensuring
last
America
16
doesn't fall behind
years.
while other
And
nations
working with
seize
early
the
stage
advantage.
startups, investing